Captain Jack Reynolds stood frozen at the main viewport of the UEA Defender, watching as the alien ships appeared one by one. First, there had been just one massive vessel at the edge of the solar system. Now there were 27. Each new arrival was bigger than Earth's largest warship. "Status report," he ordered, his voice steady despite the cold fear gripping his chest. Lisa, his communications officer, looked up from her screen with wide eyes. "Sir, they're positioning themselves around Earth's orbit. They've surrounded us completely." The bridge fell silent. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries. But not like this. Not with giant warships appearing without warning. "Any response to our greeting message?" Jack asked. Lisa shook her head, nothing for the first hour. But now, she pressed a button, and a strange sound filled the bridge. It was like crystal being struck, followed by words translated by the computer. "Primitive species. Your technology is basic. Your defenses are weak. We are the Vexer Empire. We claim this system as ours. Surrender now." Jack's jaw tightened. Earth had only recently developed faster than light travel. The United Earth Alliance had built a small fleet of ships, mostly for exploration. They weren't ready for a war with an advanced alien race. "Sir, look." The tactical officer pointed at the main screen. One of the Vexer ships had fired on an Earth defense satellite, destroying it instantly. The message was clear. This was not a bluff. "They're scanning all our ships," the sensor officer reported. "And they're laughing. The translation says they're calling our vessels children's toys and space junk." Jack turned to his second-in-command, Mike Davis. "Options." Mike looked grim. "Our 10 ships against their 27. And each of theirs is at least 5 times bigger than ours. Fighting is suicide." "Sir," Lisa called out, "I'm getting an emergency message from UEA Command. Admiral Wilson wants to speak with you privately." Jack nodded and walked to the small communications room just off the bridge. The Admiral's face appeared on the screen, looking older than Jack had ever seen him. "Reynolds, it's worse than it looks," Admiral Wilson said without greeting. "Our long-range scans show another 50 ships on the way. We've analyzed their weapons. One of their smaller ships could take out our entire fleet." "What are your orders, sir?" Jack asked, already knowing the answer wouldn't be good. Wilson's face hardened. "We need time. Order your fleet to fall back to Earth. Make it look like we're preparing to surrender." "But, sir..." "Listen to me, Reynolds. There's one option we haven't told anyone about. Do you remember Project Chimera?" Jack frowned. "The junk ship. I thought that was shut down years ago." "Officially, yes." Wilson leaned closer to the screen. "Unofficially, Engineer Tom Foster never stopped working on it. He and Dr. Maria Reyes kept building that crazy ship of theirs, using parts from every alien crash site we found over the last 100 years. Hope flickered in Jack's chest. "Is it operational?" "Barely. It's never been tested in combat. Hell, it's never even left its hidden dock. But it's the only ship we have that might surprise these Vexer. They're scanning our technology and dismissing it because they've seen it all before. But the Phoenix is different. It's a mishmash of a dozen different alien technologies that were never meant to work together." Jack thought quickly. "You want me to transfer my command to an untested experimental ship? I want you to save Earth, Captain." Wilson's voice cracked slightly. "Foster needs a crew and a captain who can think outside the box. The rest of the fleet will create a distraction while you slip away to the hidden dock at Lunar Base 16. On the main bridge, an alarm sounded. Jack glanced at the door. "Sir, they're giving us a deadline," he said. "What about evacuation ships? We could get some people off planet." Wilson shook his head. "Their blockade is complete. Nothing's getting past them unless it can fight its way through. The Phoenix might be our only shot." "I understand, sir." Jack straightened his back. "I'll take my best crew members and head for Lunar Base 16 immediately." "Good luck, Reynolds. If anyone can pull this off, it's you. The Admiral's image disappeared. Jack returned to the bridge, where the situation had worsened. 3 more defense satellites had been destroyed as a warning. "The Vexer commander is on screen," Lisa announced. "He's demanding to speak with our leader." On the main view screen, a being appeared that made Jack's skin crawl. It looked like a walking crystal, with multiple shimmering facets where a face should be. Its body was segmented crystal, glowing from within with an eerie blue light. "I am Grand Admiral Krell of the Vexer Empire," the creature announced. "Your species has 24 Earth hours to surrender unconditionally. Any resistance will be met with planetary bombardment, starting with your most populated cities." Jack stepped forward. "This is Captain Jack Reynolds of the United Earth Alliance. We request time to contact all our world leaders and prepare our people." 24 hours, Krell repeated. "Not 1 minute more. Your primitive species should feel honored that we allow you this courtesy." The screen went dark. "Orders, sir," Mike asked quietly. Jack looked around at his crew, people he had trained with and led for years. "Mike, you'll take command of the Defender. Make it look like we're preparing to surrender. Keep the Vexer busy and distracted." "And you, sir." Jack took a deep breath. "I need volunteers for a special mission. It's dangerous, probably suicidal, but it might be Earth's only chance." To his surprise, every officer on the bridge raised their hand immediately. "Lisa, Sam, Raj, you're with me," Jack said, choosing his communications, tactical, and engineering officers. "The rest of you, support Commander Davis. Don't do anything heroic. Just buy us time." 30 minutes later, a small shuttle left the Defender, supposedly heading to Earth for emergency meetings. Instead, it changed course behind Earth's moon, heading for a hidden base that didn't officially exist. As they approached Lunar Base 16, carved into the dark side of the moon, Jack's shuttle received a simple message. "Welcome to Project Chimera, Captain. We've been waiting for you." Through the shuttle's viewport, Jack caught his first glimpse of the Phoenix, a strange-looking ship that resembled nothing he had ever seen before. Parts of it didn't even seem to match, as if someone had taken pieces from a dozen different ships and welded them together. "That's our secret weapon," Lisa asked in disbelief. "It looks like junk," Jack finished for her. "Let's hope the Vexer thinks so too, right before it shows them what humanity is really capable of." The inside of Lunar Base 16 was cold and dimly lit. Jack and his small team followed a lone figure through narrow tunnels cut deep into the moon's surface. Engineer Tom Foster walked with a slight limp, his gray hair wild and uncombed. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Sorry for the poor welcome, Captain," Tom said, leading them into a larger chamber. "We've been working nonstop since Admiral Wilson contacted us." The chamber opened into an enormous hidden dock. There, suspended in the center, was the strangest ship Jack had ever seen. Parts of it gleamed like silver, while others were dull brown or matte black. Some sections looked smooth and advanced, others rough and primitive. It truly was a patchwork of technologies. "So this is the Phoenix," Jack said, trying to hide his doubt. "Don't judge her by how she looks," Tom replied with a hint of pride. "She's got technologies from 12 different alien crash sites, plus some human innovations no one has tried before." Jack noticed about 20 people working on the ship, all moving with urgent purpose. A woman in a lab coat spotted them and headed over. She had short black hair and tired eyes that nonetheless shone with intelligence. "Dr. Maria Reyes," Tom introduced her, "the real genius behind the Phoenix." "That's not true," Maria said. "Tom built the impossible. I just made the impossible work together." "What exactly can this ship do?" Jack asked, getting straight to the point. Maria smiled. "Better to show you. Come aboard." Inside, the Phoenix was just as strange as its exterior. Some corridors were wide, others narrow. Control panels seemed to use different design philosophies, and the lighting changed from section to section. The bridge is a mix of human and alien interfaces, Maria explained as they entered a circular room. We've adapted everything to be used by human hands and minds, but it will take some getting used to. Jack ran his hand over a console. We don't have time for a learning curve. The Vexer gave us 24 hours before they attack Earth. 21 hours now, Lisa corrected, checking her watch. Tom sat at one of the stations. Let me give you the quick tour. Weapons first. He pressed several buttons, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the bridge. It showed the Phoenix and highlighted various parts of the ship. We have gravity disruptors from the Trillion crash in Australia, Tom explained. They don't damage a ship directly. They distort space around it, putting massive stress on the hull. Will they work against Vexer ships? Jack asked. We think so. Maria joined in. From the scans your fleet sent, their ships have crystal-based technology. Crystals don't handle gravity distortions well. Tom continued. We also have plasma convergence cannons, energy wave projectors, and several weapons we don't fully understand but have figured out how to fire. What about defenses? Sam, the tactical officer, asked. That's where things get interesting, Maria said. We have 3 different shield systems that work on completely different principles. We can rotate between them if one starts to fail. Raj, the engineering officer, had been unusually quiet, studying a panel with growing excitement. These power readings, how is this possible? The output is off the charts. Tom smiled. That's our core. It's based on technology from the Manitoba crash site. The aliens who built it had mastered energy manipulation we can barely understand. It can channel power wherever we need it, whenever we need it. And you're sure this will all work together? Jack asked, still doubtful. Maria's face grew serious. Captain, I won't lie to you. This ship was never meant to see combat. It was a research project to understand alien technologies. We've had system failures, unexpected interactions, and near disasters during testing. But Tom added quickly, we've also seen these disparate systems work together in ways we never imagined possible. Sometimes they even enhance each other. Jack nodded slowly. It's not like we have other options. How soon can we launch? We're running final checks now, Maria said. 2 hours, maybe 3. We don't have 3 hours, Jack decided. The Vexer will be watching for any unusual activity. We need to launch now, while they're focused on our main fleet. Tom and Maria exchanged worried glances. It's a risk, Tom admitted. Everything about this is a risk, Jack replied. Earth is about to be conquered or destroyed. I'll take any chance we've got. An alarm suddenly blared through the base. Lisa rushed to a communications panel. Captain, the Vexer have detected unusual energy readings from the lunar surface. They're sending ships to investigate. How many? Jack demanded. 2 smaller vessels. They'll be here in 15 minutes. Jack turned to Tom and Maria. Can we launch in 15 minutes? They both hesitated. Then Tom straightened his back. Yes, Captain. We can. The next 15 minutes were chaos. Engineers rushed to disconnect external power supplies. Technicians hurriedly finished calibrations. Crew members who had been working on the Phoenix for years said quick goodbyes as Jack's small team took their places. Artificial gravity online, Raj reported from engineering. Communications ready, Lisa added from her station. Weapons, I think they're ready, Sam said with less confidence. Jack took the captain's chair at the center of the bridge. It adjusted to his body automatically, feeling strangely comfortable despite its alien design. Tom, Maria, I want you both on the bridge, Jack ordered. No one knows this ship better than you do. The countdown to launch began as the dock's massive doors started to open above them. Through the view screen, Jack could see the starry blackness of space. Vexer ships approaching, Lisa warned. They're scanning the base. Launch now, Jack ordered. The Phoenix shuddered as its engines fired. The ship rose smoothly at first, then jerked sideways unexpectedly. Warning lights flashed across several stations. Power fluctuation in the main drive, Maria explained. her fingers flying across her console. Compensating. The ship steadied itself and continued upward, emerging from the hidden base into open space. Almost immediately, two crystal-like Vexer ships appeared on the view screen. Turning to face them. "They're hailing us," Lisa reported. "Ignore them," Jack said. "Tom, are those gravity disruptors ready?" Tom nodded. "Targeting systems online. But Captain, we've never fired them outside of simulations." "No time like the present," Jack replied grimly. "Target the lid ship and fire." The Phoenix shuddered again as the alien weapon activated. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the space around the lead Vexer ship appeared to ripple like water. The crystalline vessel twisted as if being crushed by an invisible hand. Cracks appeared across its surface, spreading rapidly. "It's working," Sam exclaimed in disbelief. The damaged Vexer ship fired back, a beam of energy striking the Phoenix. The ship rocked violently. "Shields holding at 82%, Maria reported. "Better than expected." "The second ship is moving to flank us," Sam warned. Jack gripped the arms of his chair. "All power to engines. Let's show them what this junk ship can do." The Phoenix surged forward with unexpected speed, leaving the Vexer vessels struggling to track its movements. As they headed toward Earth and the main Vexer fleet, Jack allowed himself a small smile. "Send a message to Admiral Wilson," he told Lisa. "Tell him the Phoenix has left the nest." The Phoenix sped toward Earth, leaving the two damaged Vexer scout ships behind. Through the main view screen, Jack could see his home planet, beautiful and blue, surrounded by the crystalline Vexer fleet like predators circling their prey. "Status report," Jack ordered. "Shields stable at 79%, Maria reported. "That hit we took caused some power fluctuations, but nothing serious." "Our weapons are fully charged again," Sam added from Tactical. "The gravity disruptors worked better than expected." Tom pointed to a display showing Earth's defensive fleet. "The UEA ships are in defensive positions around the planet. They're making it look like they're preparing to surrender, just as planned." Jack studied the Vexer fleet positions. Their ships formed a perfect blockade around Earth, with the massive flagship at the center. According to the Phoenix's scans, the flagship was 3 times larger than any other vessel in their fleet. "We need a plan," Jack said, thinking out loud. "We can't take on their entire fleet, even with our surprise weapons." Lisa looked up from her communications station. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual patterns in the Vexer communications. Their ships seem to be constantly sending data back and forth to the flagship." Maria moved to Lisa's station, studying the readings. "It's not just communications. It looks like command and control signals. Everything flows through the flagship. A centralized command structure," Jack mused. "That could be a weakness." Tom joined them, his eyes lighting up with sudden inspiration. "Captain, remember the Manitoba crash technology? The aliens had a way to disrupt energy patterns using counter-frequencies." "What are you thinking?" Jack asked. "The Vexer are crystal-based life forms with crystal ships," Tom explained. "Crystals operate on specific frequency patterns. If we can identify their command frequency, we could disrupt their entire fleet at once," Maria finished excitedly. "But we'd need to get close to the flagship to analyze its exact frequency pattern." Jack leaned back in his chair, considering their options. "So we need to get close to the biggest, most heavily armed ship in their fleet, without getting blown to pieces. We still have our disguise," Raj suggested from engineering. "The Phoenix doesn't look like a standard Earth warship. We could try to approach as a civilian vessel seeking to negotiate. Or," Sam added, "we could modify our sensor profile to look like space debris. After our battle with those scouts, the Vexer might think we were destroyed." Jack nodded slowly. "Let's do both. We'll adjust our profile to look like damaged civilian ship debris. If they scan us, they might think we're just wreckage from one of their attacks." The crew got to work. Maria and Tom modified the Phoenix's energy signature to appear weak and failing. Sam adjusted the shield harmonics to scatter scanning beams in a way that would make the ship look broken apart. Raj diverted power from non-essential systems to enhance their disguise. Approaching Earth defense perimeter, Lisa announced an hour later. Vexer ships are on high alert, but not targeting us specifically. Jack watched the massive Vexer fleet grow larger on the view screen. Take us in slow, like we're drifting. The Phoenix moved gradually toward the center of the Vexer formation. Every minute felt like an hour as they passed between giant crystal ships, any of which could destroy them with a single volley if their disguise failed. "We're being scanned," Maria warned, tension in her voice. Everyone on the bridge held their breath. "They're classifying us as debris," she finally reported with relief. "Our disguise is working." As they drifted closer to the flagship, Lisa worked silently at her station, recording and analyzing the Vexer communication patterns. Tom and Maria joined her, their faces tense with concentration. "I think I've got it," Lisa said finally. "Their command signals pulse at a specific crystalline frequency. It's unlike anything I've seen before." Tom studied the data. "We can use the Manitoba technology to generate an inverse wave. It should disrupt their command network completely." "For how long?" Jack asked. "Minutes at most," Maria admitted. "Once they realize what's happening, they'll adapt." "Minutes might be enough," Jack decided. "We'll hit their flagship with everything we've got the moment their network goes down." The Phoenix continued its slow approach, now less than 10 kilometers from the massive Vexer flagship. Up close, it was even more impressive. A giant crystal structure that sparkled with internal energy, bristling with weapons. "We're in position," Sam reported. "All weapons locked on their key structural points." Jack took a deep breath. "Lisa, are you ready with the disruptor signal?" She nodded, her finger hovering over the activation control. "Ready, Captain." "Raj, prepare to divert all power to weapons the moment we fire the disruptor." "Standing by, sir." Jack looked around at his crew, a mix of military officers and civilian engineers, united in their desperate mission to save Earth. They all looked back at him with determination in their eyes. "On my mark," Jack said. 3, 2, 1, mark. Lisa activated the frequency disruptor. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the lights inside the Vexer flagship flickered visibly. Throughout the fleet, the crystal ships began to drift slightly out of formation. "It's working," Maria exclaimed. "Their command network is crashing." "All power to weapons," Jack ordered immediately. "Fire everything we've got." The Phoenix suddenly dropped its disguise and unleashed its full arsenal. Gravity disruptors twisted space around the flagship's command section. Plasma beams struck its weapons arrays. Energy pulses targeted its engines. The flagship, caught completely by surprise, couldn't respond fast enough. Cracks appeared across its crystalline surface as the gravity weapons put impossible strain on its structure. "They're returning fire," Sam warned. A massive energy beam struck the Phoenix, sending the ship spinning. Warning lights flashed across all stations as systems overloaded. "Shields down to 42%. Maria reported, fighting to stabilize her console after the hit. "Keep firing," Jack ordered. "Everything we've got." The Phoenix continued its attack, pouring all its power into its weapons. Around them, the Vexer fleet was in chaos, ships moving erratically without coordinated commands. "The flagship's main reactor is destabilizing," Tom reported, reading the scanner data. "If it goes critical." He never finished the sentence. The center of the Vexer flagship began to glow with blindingly bright light. Energy cascaded through its crystal structure in waves. "Evasive maneuvers," Jack shouted. "Get us out of here." Raj diverted all remaining power to engines. The Phoenix turned away from the flagship and accelerated just as the massive crystal vessel shattered in a spectacular explosion. The shockwave hit them like a wall, throwing everyone against their restraints. Systems failed across the ship as the Phoenix tumbled through space. "Report," Jack called out when he could speak again. Engines offline, Raj responded first, working to restore power. Weapons are down, Sam added. Shields at 15%. Lissa looked up from her station, a stunned expression on her face. Captain, the Vexer fleet. They're in complete disarray. Without the flagship, they've lost all coordination. On the view screen, they could see the Vexer ships moving randomly, some firing at each other in confusion, others beginning to retreat. We did it, Tom whispered in disbelief. We actually did it. Jack allowed himself a small smile. Not bad for a junk ship. The Phoenix drifted in space, damaged but not defeated. Through the view screen, the crew watched as the Vexer fleet scattered in confusion. Without their flagship and Grand Admiral Krell to guide them, the alien ships had lost their coordination. Damage report, Jack ordered, wiping blood from a cut on his forehead. Raj's voice came through a damaged speaker. Main power is at 30%. Engines can run at half speed. Life support is stable. Weapons? Jack asked. The gravity disruptors are completely offline, Sam reported. Plasma weapons at 40% capacity. We still have some fight left in us. Jack turned to Tom and Maria. How long until they reorganize? Tom studied the scanner data. Hard to say. Their command structure was completely centralized. Without the flagship, they'll need time to establish a new chain of command. But they will recover, Maria added. Maybe hours, maybe less. Lisa suddenly straightened in her chair. Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from the UEA Defender. Commander Davis is requesting to speak with you. Put him through, Jack ordered. Mike Davis appeared on screen, his uniform torn and his bridge filled with smoke. Captain Reynolds, you're alive. We saw the flagship explode and thought you might have gone with it. We made it, Mike. Barely. What's your status? When the Vexer fleet fell into chaos, we took advantage. The Earth Defense Fleet has engaged the enemy ships closest to our planet. We've destroyed 3 so far, but we're taking heavy damage. Jack leaned forward. The Vexer will regroup soon. We need to strike now, while they're still disorganized. Agreed, Mike replied. Admiral Wilson has ordered all Earth ships to attack. But we need the Phoenix. Whatever you did to their flagship, we need you to do it again to the remaining ships. Jack looked at Tom and Maria. Can we? Maria shook her head. The Manitoba technology is burned out. We overloaded it against the flagship. But, Tom added with a small smile, we still have a few tricks up our sleeve. The Arcturus energy manipulation system. We haven't tried it yet. What does it do? Jack asked. In theory, it can absorb energy from weapons fire and redirect it, Tom explained. If we could get close enough to the largest remaining Vexer ship, we might be able to use their own weapons against the rest of their fleet. Jack nodded. It's worth a shot. Mike, we're heading back into the fight. Have the Earth fleet focus on the smaller Vexer ships. We'll take on their new command vessel. Good luck, Captain, Mike said. Earth is counting on you. As the transmission ended, Jack turned to the crew. Raj, give me everything you can from the engines. Lisa, scan for the largest remaining Vexer ship. That's our target. The Phoenix limped back toward the battle, its mismatched systems struggling to keep the ship functioning. Through the view screen, they could see the Earth Defense Fleet engaging the scattered Vexer ships. Though outnumbered, the human vessels were fighting with everything they had. There, Lisa pointed to a large crystal ship that was flashing signals to the others. That appears to be their new command vessel. They're trying to reorganize the fleet. Set course, Jack ordered. Sam, prepare the Arcturus system. Sam looked uncertain. Captain, we've never tested this system in actual combat. The power requirements are enormous. We don't have a choice, Jack replied. We need to end this fight before they regroup. As the Phoenix approached the new Vexer command ship, they could see it was already gathering other vessels around it, forming a defensive position. They'd spotted us, Lisa warned. They're targeting our ship specifically. They must have identified us as the threat that destroyed their flagship. Good, Jack said grimly. I want their attention. The Vexer ships opened fire. Energy beams struck the Phoenix from multiple directions, overloading its weakened shields. Shields failing, Maria reported as the ship shook violently. We can't take much more of this. Activate the Arcturus system, Jack ordered. Tom's fingers flew across his console. Arcturus system coming online. Energy absorption fields activated. The Phoenix shuddered as the alien technology activated. Strange, glowing panels unfolded from the ship's hull. Technology salvaged from the Arcturus crash decades ago. As the Vexer weapons struck these panels, something remarkable happened. Instead of damaging the Phoenix, the energy seemed to flow into the panels, making them glow brighter. It's working, Tom exclaimed in amazement. We're absorbing their weapons fire. Power levels rising rapidly, Raj reported from engineering. The Arcturus system is channeling the energy directly into our power core. We're at 200% capacity and climbing. Can we redirect it? Jack asked. Maria nodded. Theoretically, yes. The system was designed to collect energy and release it in a controlled burst. Then let's give them a taste of their own medicine, Jack said. Target their command ship. The Phoenix turned toward the large Vexer vessel, still absorbing energy from the attacks of the surrounding ships. The strange panels on its hull were now glowing so brightly they were painful to look at. Energy redirection ready, Tom announced. Fire, Jack ordered. A massive beam of pure energy burst from the Phoenix, striking the Vexer command ship directly in its center. The crystalline vessel couldn't withstand the concentrated power of its own fleet's weapons. It cracked along its length, light pouring from the fissures, before breaking apart in a shower of crystal fragments. The surrounding Vexer ships, witnessing the destruction of their second command vessel in less than an hour, began to retreat. They're pulling back, Lissa reported excitedly. The entire fleet is withdrawing. On the main screen, they could see the Vexer ships turning away from Earth, forming up into a disorganized retreat formation. We did it, Sam whispered in disbelief. But Jack noticed something concerning on the ship's status display. Tom, the Arcturus system is still drawing power. Why hasn't it shut down? Tom's expression changed from joy to worry as he checked his readings. The system's containment field is failing. We absorbed too much energy too quickly. What does that mean? Jack demanded. It means, Maria explained, her voice tight, that we have about 5 minutes before the energy overloads our core and the Phoenix tears itself apart. Jack thought quickly. Raj, can we eject the core? Negative, Captain, Raj replied. The core is integrated with multiple systems. It's the heart of the ship. Can we use the energy somehow? Burn it off. Tom and Maria exchanged glances. There might be a way, Tom said slowly. But it's risky. Everything about this mission has been risky, Jack replied. What's your idea? We could reconfigure the Manitoba technology, Maria suggested. Use it as a channel for the excess energy. Create one massive pulse that might disable any remaining Vexer ships. Do it, Jack ordered. Lisa, warn the Earth fleet to pull back to a safe distance. As Tom and Maria worked frantically to reconfigure the ship's systems, Jack watched the Vexer fleet continuing its retreat. They had won the battle, but the Phoenix might not survive to celebrate the victory. Reconfiguration complete, Tom announced. The Manitoba system is ready to channel the energy, but this will burn out every system we have left. Will the crew survive? Jack asked. If we're lucky, Maria answered honestly. Jack nodded. Then do it. Target the retreating Vexer fleet and fire with everything we got left. Tom pressed the activation sequence. The Phoenix shuddered as energy surged through its systems. A massive wave of energy burst from the ship in all directions, catching the retreating Vexer fleet. The crystalline ships froze in space, their systems completely overwhelmed by the energy pulse. Then darkness fell on the Phoenix as every system shut down at once. Darkness and silence filled the Phoenix. The ship drifted through space, all systems offline after the massive energy pulse. On the bridge, emergency lights slowly flickered on, casting an eerie red glow over the crew. Jack opened his eyes, his head pounding. "Status report," he called out, his voice sounding strange in the quiet ship. One by one, the crew responded. Everyone was alive, though some had minor injuries. "All main systems are offline," Raj reported from engineering. "We're running on emergency power only. Life support will last about 6 hours. "Communications?" Jack asked. Lisa shook her head. "Nothing working, Captain." Tom and Maria were already checking the ship's core systems. Their faces looked grim in the red emergency lighting. "The good news is we're not exploding," Tom said. "The energy pulse worked. It drained the overload from the Arcturus system. The bad news," Maria added, "is that we burned out almost every system on the ship. The Phoenix was never designed to channel that much power." Jack looked out the view screen. Without the ship's sensors, they could only see what was visible to the naked eye. Earth shone blue and beautiful in the distance. Around them, the disabled Vexer ships floated like dead crystal sculptures. "Did it work?" Jack asked. "Did we stop them?" "Looks like it," Sam replied, squinting at the drifting Vexer vessels. "They're not moving. No signs of power or weapons charging." Jack unbuckled from his chair and stood up shakily. "We need to get communications back online. Earth needs to know what happened." For the next hour, the crew worked to restore basic functions. Tom and Raj focused on rerouting emergency power to critical systems. Maria tried to salvage components from less important areas of the ship. Lisa attempted to repair the communications array with parts from other systems. "I might have something," Lisa finally announced. "It's not pretty, but I think I can send a simple signal." "Do it," Jack ordered. Lisa activated her makeshift transmitter. "This is the UEA Phoenix calling any Earth vessels. We are disabled but alive. Requesting assistance." Static answered her. She repeated the message again and again. "Wait," she said suddenly. "I'm getting a response." Through the crackling static, they heard Commander Davis's voice. "Phoenix, this is the Defender. We read you. Hang tight. Rescue ships are on the way." A cheer went up from the exhausted crew. Jack smiled, relief washing over him. "What happened to the Vexer fleet?" he asked when the cheering died down. "Your energy pulse disabled every Vexer ship within 50,000 kilometers," Davis replied, his voice filled with awe. "The few that were out of range are retreating at maximum speed. Earth is safe, thanks to you." 3 hours later, the Phoenix was being towed back to Earth by 2 UEA rescue ships. As they approached, they could see hundreds of vessels coming out to meet them. Military ships, civilian craft, even private shuttles. It was an impromptu parade to welcome home the heroes who had saved Earth. "Look at that," Lisa said softly, pointing to a nearby view screen that had been jury-rigged to work again. It showed news broadcasts from around the world. Crowds were celebrating in every city. The Phoenix crew's faces were being displayed everywhere. "They're calling us heroes," Sam said in disbelief. "You are heroes," Admiral Wilson's voice came through as his face appeared on the screen. "Captain Reynolds, you and your crew have performed the greatest service in human history." Jack shook his head. "We just did our job, Admiral, and we had a lot of help." He looked at Tom and Maria. "These two built an impossible ship that saved us all." "About that," Wilson said with a smile. "The UEA Council has unanimously approved full funding for Project Chimera. They want a fleet of Phoenix-class ships as soon as possible." Tom's eyes widened. "A fleet? But the Phoenix was one of a kind. We built it from salvage technology. We can't mass-produce alien tech we barely understand." "You won't have to," Wilson replied. "The Vexer ships we disabled, they're intact. The Council has authorized recovery operations to begin immediately. We're going to study their technology, Combine it with what we learned from the Phoenix. Humanity is about to take a giant leap forward. 1 week later, Jack stood at a podium before a massive crowd in New York City. Behind him, the battered Phoenix had been placed on display, a monument to human ingenuity and courage. The mismatched, junk ship now stood as Earth's most treasured symbol. "The Vexer thought we were helpless," Jack said into the microphone, his voice carrying to billions watching worldwide. "They saw our technology and dismissed it as primitive. They called our ships toys and junk, but they made one critical mistake." He paused, looking out at the crowd. They underestimated human creativity. While they relied on one type of technology, perfected, yes, but singular in its approach, we humans have always been adapters, innovators. We take ideas from everywhere, combine them in ways never imagined before. The Phoenix wasn't just a collection of salvaged parts. It represented the very best of humanity, our ability to look at the impossible and say, "Let's try anyway." The crowd erupted in cheers. Jack waited for them to quiet before continuing. "We've learned that the Vexer have sent messages to their homeworld about us. They've warned that humans are unpredictable and dangerous, that our technology is chaotic and impossible to counter." Tom stepped forward to stand beside Jack. "Which is exactly right," he added with a grin. "We're already designing the next generation of ships. By combining what we've learned from the Phoenix with recovered Vexer technology, Earth will soon have defenses that no single alien race can easily overcome." Maria joined them at the podium. "More importantly, 3 other alien civilizations have made contact since the Vexer retreat. It seems not everyone in the galaxy is hostile. They're interested in alliance, not conquest. Earth has been noticed and respected." Jack nodded. "This is just the beginning. Humanity is heading to the stars, not as conquerors or victims, but as innovators. The Phoenix was our first step, but it won't be our last." Later that evening, Jack stood alone in front of the displayed Phoenix. Its mismatched hull gleamed under the spotlights. What once looked like junk now seemed beautiful to him, a perfect symbol of humanity's greatest strength. Admiral Wilson approached quietly. "The Phoenix will never fly again," he said. "To damage. But her spirit will live on in every ship we build from now on." Jack smiled. "She did her job. She showed the galaxy what humans are truly capable of." "And what's that, Captain?" Wilson asked. "Taking the broken, the discarded, the misunderstood, and turning it into something magnificent," Jack replied, placing his hand on the Phoenix's scarred hull. "That's the real human superpower. We see possibilities where others see only junk." As the sun set over Earth, news arrived that the first diplomatic vessel from the Arcturus Confederation had entered the solar system, eager to meet the species whose junk warship had defeated the feared Vexer Empire. A new era for humanity had begun. The end.